Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who trespasses us, as we forgive those who trespasses against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power and glory, forever and ever after. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I was getting a guidance to read it, and when I was reading it, I know I missed words, but I just wanted to flow because I just wanted to flow in my prayer's essence. And then I felt I have the need to reread the whole thing again. So that was the need. So now we begin, and I'm getting a lot of energies flowing. So definitely there's a lot that God has for us today. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were sons of Noah. From these were the people of the whole earth were dispersed. The three people are the three stages of our being. And from those three stages, the whole earth is dispersed. As in one stage, you are in a phase of life, and then you have a lot of people also who are in that phase of life. Then in another stage, you reach of life, and you have a lot of people in that stage too. And then in another stage, you are in your life where you've upgraded. You're the same person, but you have new people to resonate with you in that new phase because they were also the same people in those phases, and those are through the phases that we transcend in our life. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it on both their shoulders and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke from the wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be the Lord of Shem, and let the Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be served in his servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. So Shem here literally is, it's written as Shem, but then Shem is referred to as shame here. So when you see a man who's lying down naked, what would you feel in your heart that you would go ahead and cover up the man? If not shame. It is shame that makes us garment a person. It is shame that makes us curse a person. It is shame that makes us feel like, oh my God, this person is this, that person is that, and that is when we shame. So shame, Ham, and Japheth are like the three phases of man, and when the man is being covered, and when that man is seen in this stage, and Canon feels like, okay, there is, I like, this man needs to be covered. So somewhere deep down, that man's nakedness is not being really seen as something right, seen as something ethical. And the idea that being naked is wrong has been cursed. The person who's choosing to be naked, the person who's naked to and is choosing to be raw, naked, and vulnerable is choosing so because the person is comfortable doing so. And if we go and cover that person up and try to guard that person with something else, that person will retaliate and not choose that. And that is what has also been proclaimed here. And there is another download that I had been getting as I was reading this, and I said that those are the three phases of life. I was also getting this download that we are all different beings on earth, and with our different beingness, we have different professions. No profession is greater than the other because everything is coordinating with each other and letting the process unfold and go. And in that unfolding process where we are moving, we have phases of life and ways to see life. And in that way to see life, we choose a desirable profession. And in the process of choosing whatever shall be our desirable profession, whatever shall be our path, we choose our choices. So, whenever, if a person who is choosing the field of working in an office, working in a day-to-day life, and there is another person who's choosing to be a model, might feel shame, like, oh my god, I'm so ashamed to just walk in that dress. That is where that person is left in shame. And then the person is, that is a phase of shame. Then you reach a phase of harm. Like, let me put it in another word where you can really relate on a 3D realm. So, oh yeah, it's cool to have a burger. So you're like in the middle, ham. Where do you put ham in the burger? Where is the ham put in between? And it's also shame ham zapid. So shame, it's like ham. In the middle you are. And in the middle you're like, yeah, it's cool to just have the ham, but I can just put it with some bread and then put the ham in. So yeah, it's cool to watch that. It's cool to wear that, but I can just put a jacket with that. It's cool to wear that dress, but I can just wear a jacket along or some stockings or something. Ham, zap it. I'm a soul. I'm in my soul being. I can zap it. I can relinquish in my blinking essence. Be the shining glory armor, or be the zap it. And that is the three phases. This was the download I was getting. This is also true for the phase of life that we are in right now, and with the unfolding process that is going on. This is true for that. But is she more advanced than Zapit? No, because shame is choosing from survival, and shame, that phase has a different work process, and Zapit will feel like, oh, it's so boring to lead that monotonous life. But shame will be like, this is my life, I love my life, this is my contract. So again, there are like stages of life, phases of life, and compartments of this world, and compartments which take us to different path. And in that path, we are living the life. And in each path, the other paths are unseen. And shame will not ever know about how it feels to be in the Zapit phase, or how it feels to be in the Ham phase. And Ham will never know how it feels to be in shame's phase or Zapit's phase, But Japhet might know all because Japhet was once Shem, Japhet was once Ham, and Japhet then became Japhet. So each stage, this is probably why I was literally getting a push to read the Bible today. And it's 10 is to 1 1, 10, 11, and the verse. So Genesis 10, 11. So Genesis 10, 11 is talking about this at this point. So we can say that all the stages are a part of the human collective. So each one of us can have all the stages in our life. So it happens simultaneously inside and simultaneously outside. And even shame has the phases where just being shame also you can incur japet, like you can continue to live the job and live that normal life and still integrate those phases and spiritual understanding in your life and bring that transcendental change, yet continue to have that normal day-to-day life, like you're living a life normally and no longer judging somebody, and you've just ascended and accelerated and changed your thought processes. So you do not really need to change everything in your life to just go through those acceleration phases, because a lot of people are scared like you have to literally leave everything to walk a path. No, that's like a different calling. Like everybody has a different path, everybody has a unique purpose, and this is a unique way of seeing so many probabilities are already coming in. Nations descended from Noah. These are the generations of son of Noah. Shem, Ham, Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshish, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Akshenaz, Riphath, and Togarma. The son of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland peoples spread their lands, each with their own language, by their clans in their nation. So now you have reached the state of Japhet, and having to reach that state, having to reach that energy, you have a lot of branches of it. Like you've reached that state of realization, having to reach that state of realization, having to have that understanding, having to have the deeper state of realization in life, where you've come to that realization that I'm an infinite being. I am the universe having a human experience. There are various paths that you can choose: twin flame path, soulmate path, and so on. You can choose different paths. You can choose to be a reader. You can choose to be an artist. You can choose to be a writer. You can choose to be a motivational speaker. You can choose to be a teacher. You can choose to be a healer. You can just choose to be anything that you want. And these are the various paths which will differ you in your path, differ you in your own language, the language that you best understand to share, the language in which you are sharing, the language, the path in which you are sharing. Like your area of interest might be Reiki, so your language will be energy, and people, clan, your tribe who understand that will connect to you on that level. And sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan, the son of Cush, Seba, Havila, Sapta, Rama, Sapteka, the sons of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush father Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of the kingdom was Bubel, Erich, Akkad, Kalne, in the land of Shinar. And from the land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, donkeys, okay, Kala, and Raisin between Nineveh and Kala, and that is the great city. Egypt's father, Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphthunim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphotrim. So, first of all, these stages are again one in itself. The places, the formulations are somewhere deep down, coming down to this small paragraph itself is coming down to a story that I'm about to explain with you. And the story that going to explain is going to be quite different to what you just read. And the story is that when we are spiritually awakening, we have various visions. And this also drills down a lot about my quantum entanglement consciousness alignment therapy course, which talks about this clearly, which very, very, very clearly talks about this. And the clarity with which it talks about it redefines the aspects of this process. But the system is that the process is that rather when we are awakening, we've started to have our awakening, and initially, suddenly, when you awaken, it might be the various paths that you are taking. The various paths that I said are possible. So, one path that it is happening here is that you are realizing that through astrology, Gomer is through astrology, through gemstones, through understanding crystals, through taking interest in crystal healing, you are awakening. Magog, you are awakening from the understanding of magic, feathers, angel feathers, angel journey, angel therapy, and these things are pulling you. These things are catching your interest. You're interested in energy healing, angels, obsessed with angels, wants to know about magic, wants to experience the path of magic, want to just do the different paths of magic, want to do different paths of things, want to do magical stuff, want to do imaginary beautiful stuff of magic, interesting stuff, and you're interested in like really, really magical, dark seated stuff to bring out the essence of magic. Madai, you're interested in healing, Reiki, of people's best interest. Madai is also Madurai's frequency of India. Madurai is a frequency where you just really want to do something through ritualistic endeavor. So, Reiki, rituals, ritualistic healing, praying. Javan, you're coming to the essence of life, living life, taking spirituality as a life path. Yogic journey can be a part of the Javan. Tubal is a part of the different turbulences going through the healing and upheavals, collective consciousness clearing. You're becoming a healer of, you're interested in light work, you're interested in going through the upheavals, or you're just going through the upheavals into yourself in your life because of the healing journey, because of which you're a warrior, wounded healer going through the upheavals. Meshach, it's a phase when you are getting pulled towards messiahs and want to preach others and reading about others. You're getting a pull to preach. You may even get a pull to leave home and go ahead and preach, and you bring the preacher out of you, and you started to feel that you're a preacher here, you're a prophet here, you're a pastor here, the praster or the preaching you is rising a lot, and this rising happens. I have been through this phase, and this is the path my journey began. And this is the phase when I left home and I was in Kasol, and I was just going here and there, and I felt he's here, and that's all I would feel. Christ is here. This is when you're here to be a preacher of any Messiah, or you're a channel of any Messiah, or you want to be a Messiah, or you feel like you are a Messiah, or a Messiah or a Messiah is preacher of God. A Messiah is a messenger of God who's here to preach about God. It's a path. Judas. Judas is a path when you want to create leaders, you want to create teachers, you want to apply practicality and come back on earth and apply practicality and preach your things and create leaders and create others like you. And so if you consider in terms of Reiki, so this Messiah is like Reiki level 4 and Tiras is like level 5. So you become a master now, time to be a grandmaster. So Sons of Gomer was Akhilenash Akashic Records path. Ripa Hath working with Archangel Michael, working with angels, working with love, healing energy. Blue ray star seeds. Sugarma, twin flame purple, twin flame healing. Sons of Javan, Elisha. Living a life of an influencer. The life that you're living, just by living that, just giving by an example. Tarshish, living your life purpose in a way where you're sharing your life purpose through work. So you're teaching Reiki, you're teaching NLP, you're teaching subjects, you're teaching things that you've learned. You're teaching things that you know and practically applying it. Kitim, you completely devoted yourself to rituals of God, praying to God, singing for God, and listening to the bells and songs of God and music of God, and feeling that essence, and just in that form, just praying to God, so just chanting the hymns of God. Dodanam, I kind of am in that space in my life right now. It is a phase where you completely give up everything, just surrender. You just surrender and you're just living for Krishna. You don't know anything. You know Krishna is all that is, and you've just given up on your expectations in life. Are you giving up on your expectations in life? It's a phase of life, and I must tell you that because I'm living it right now. So it's like you give up everything and you just give up on all the phases of your life and you just completely surrender. That I surrender it to Krishna. I surrender it to God. I surrender it to Christ. I surrender it to the God I believe. And with that, I only believe in Christ, Krishna, and Christ Krishna is my Lord. And Christ Krishna is my Lord, Yeshua. Yeshua is He, and they are one. And He is who I worship. He is the only God. I believe it's my path. And in this path, I have completely surrendered to Him, and everything that I do, everything that I say, everything that I preach, everything that I'm doing it for Him. I'm doing it for within Him, within me. I'm doing it to worship Him. I'm doing it all as He says. I'm just doing it as the voice goes. I'm doing it all for Him. That is a phase. Again, I'm excited what else is after that. So from this coastline, try the language, and these are the only stages that we reach. And after this, there are different phases just starting after this. So I'm excited what's after this. it's like an information for me also. Like, yeah, these are the options that we have. So we are ready for it without backing twice. So we've chosen different paths, and you know which path you've chosen, and I know now which path I have chosen. And I've actually been through almost all the phases, and this is the phase I chose finally. So you all know which path you have chosen. So having to know the paths, now see yourselves is coming. This is like, this was the path of knowing how to proceed. We all have found and started like, okay, this sounds like more me. This sounds like I would like to walk this path. This is like a life purpose revelation also on a very higher level, a life purpose revelation. And trust me, we're equally blessed. As much as everybody listening to this video, as much as me who's reading this, you're equally blessed to get this information. And yes, it is my purpose to decode these informations, and I receive it gladly today. And today I'm feeling a lot more confident and more me because, again, ignorance is curved by knowledge. So, sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. Cush is there. It's just surrender. And in that surrendered intoxication, you might choose to get a Baba who surrendered completely. Will choose to have Kush. Kush is the hash, reach. Babas have Kush. So Kush Babas are having it. Babas are just relinquishing it. This is also a phase of rest. So Kush can be a phase of rest. Life purpose revolution has happened. So in that intoxication of life, life's intoxicating way, you're getting drunk in the beauty of life and relinquishing in that beautiful ecstasy of life that this is that you're living now. And this ecstasy of life finally is giving earth to Egypt. What is Egypt? Egypt is luxury. The need for luxury is now born. There's need for survival. Like, I need to survive. I need to survive. And then there is that. Oh my God. I really love that shoe. A pair of shoe would just be so fine and profound, and the pair of socks to wear it, the softness of it, just feeling it every day, each time you wear it, and that softness, and then really caring about the texture of it because it's your divine leg, and your divine leg requires that softness, and we just linger onto this sometime, that's for sure. So that divine softness, that relinquishing essence of that pair of socks that just brings it. You allow it to be there. Just this Bible, that beauty of this line, this is the Egypt spirit. This very line, I'm just going to feel its essence for so long because this tiny line is also so much of information, so much of love, so much of everything that is stored and coded in its corner. And in this stored and coded essence of it, in the stored and coded wholeness of it, it's so beautiful to feel its luxurious essence. Just sit and observe and feel the beauty of something. Sit and observe and feel that wholeness of it, and to feel the magic of God, or to just sit and just philosophize with the essence of love, life, and just feel that essence. And now to feel that essence of that luxury in life and to live with that luxury because it's beautiful to be there. It's just so soul soothing to have that, not ego soothing. It's like you don't want that pair of earrings because it's the costliest pair of earrings and you need to wear them and flaunt them. But it's divine connection, it's this divine rawness, it's this divine carnival of it that embroiders your soul's ears. That is why you want that pair of earrings. And then you enter that phase of put. Put is where you put actions. You take the actions, you do the work, you care about your life, you want to bring in that action in your life, as you are relinquishing in the beauty and imagining and feeling that imagination, feeling the importance of luxury, feeling that wholeness of luxury, you put in the work. As you put in the work, this luxury and oneness become one. The luxury that you seek and the push of relinquishing life that you have, Egypt and push become one, and you put the action. And then, like canon, everything starts to flow, everything starts to flow, everything starts to flow, and everything starts to flow, everything starts to flow. And now canon was cursed. Why? Because when everything starts to flow, we start to think we're God. And in that process, we may again judge, we may again forget who we are. But then comes that we're always kush, we're always relinquishing the essence of life. So even if we become canon and the flow has come, we can always go back to being push, resting and relinquishing in the essence of life, philosophizing the essence of life and loving that essence of life. And in that loving essence of life, we put the philosophizing and the resting together in oneness. And in that oneness, as everything flows, we don't ever give up on this oneness because this oneness is who we are. We're one with God. And then the sons of Kush were Seba. We are doing God, so taking care of God, we're serving God. Seva, Seva is serving God. We're serving God. We're serving the Almighty. And then is Havila. We are doing Havan rituals. Ritualistic endeavors are coming in. We're deepening with our endeavor of worshipping God. Then we have Sapta. We are doing fast. We are going to the next level and understanding God more deeply, getting into a more deeper relationship with the divine, getting into a more intoxicating relationship with the divine. And we're reaching Rama, where we are reaching the Rama phase in that essence, it again riding a bit in our pride and feeling the pride essence in our love with God. And that is also a phase where we've been for a while. And in that phase, we just realize to read the phase of Sapteka, where we are also having the essence of doing seva, feeling the oneness of God, yet feeling that pride together, because that pride and that essence of serving God come together. And in that essence, we choose to put God first, choose to show the perfection of God, and choose to show the essence of God. And in that essence, we respect ourselves, but we choose to be holistically in one with God and give up on all that is, all the attachment on the physical realm, and just give it to God. Saptika, you can say Saptera. So it's like you are giving it to God. It's all His. You just give it to Him, and no matter what you realize, what you go through is all His ways. To teach His ways, because He is the teacher that flows. The moment when I started the session today, I was getting this answer, this will flow. And when I was reading the prayer, it was the prayer of my school. And of course, I don't remember the exact words now, and our school followed a different, uh, gave us our trespasses. That part was a bit different, how we used to say. And I was just going in that course, and while reading it, I just first wanted to chant. While chanting, I chose to be in that energy where I was in my Magog stage, or I was in my Riptahat stage, or I was in my Kittim stage, where I was just focused on just chanting the way, just worshipping Him in the heart. And then when I said it wrong, I felt that shame. In that shame, I wanted to be harmed. I wanted to come into the average line. So I read it. After reading it, I justified that I'm not perfect. I'm a child of God. I'm here to merely speak what God teaches as I let myself be a channel and as it flows. And in that course of flow, as this flow happens, in this course of flow, I realized and I aligned to understand that Father, you are perfect, and this child of yours. What mistakes have whatever I made, please forgive me, Father. I don't choose that. I choose to follow your path. And because I choose to follow his path, I lived through my mistake, and now, through the essence of self love, I'm repeating it and I'm telling it because now my Father forgives me because I have understood the lesson. And now, through the Satyaka phase, as through the surrender, He's speaking to me as He's fighting the battle for me and is telling me and putting me back once again in the throne which is mine in His kingdom. Because in His kingdom, He has throne for every child. Because every child is a prince and princess in His kingdom. We're all the prince and princesses of Jesus' kingdom because Jesus is the king and we are the children of our Father who's a king. So we are prince and princesses of heaven. And as he presses me back, I realize that it was a way of him showing that none of us are perfect. It is not our words that matter. It is not the information that we speak that of matter. It is the essence that we let to flow in through us. That essence is who is being seen. That essence is who is being recognized. That essence is who speaks through us. And I am but a channel of that essence within. So after Shiv Sapta, after Saptika, the sons of Rama were Sheba and Dadan. So when you have reached Rama, the pride has come. Then you again start to do Sheba. Along with being Sheba, you again surrender to I'm just doing it for Christ and I deserve to have the luxury because I choose it for my body and I choose that happening being because your being falls in love with having fun and your being enjoys it. And your being having fun is what desires a luxury for you. And once your being has started to have that fun, when your being has started to reach that stage, when you're having fun and enjoying in the glorious way, and your being is with having fun, and you're just being and having fun. Pushpada Nimrod, and he was the first on earth to be the mighty man. So then Kush's father, Nimrod, and then finally you have become a stage. You don't know. You don't know anything anymore. Your mind does not know anything anymore. Your thoughts have come to an halt. Your thoughts have gone blank. You have nothing to say, you have nothing to be, you have nothing to do. You just have your being that wants to flow, and in the essence of your being, as your being flows, you also know that you're being here, and because of that being, you know what's being. And that being is all that is, and that being becomes you, and that being is all that is, and you become that being and being, your being. And in that being, awareness flows. Different sort of intelligence flows, a different sort of understanding grows because you're being here, you're being that you're here to be, you're being. And this leads to the beginning of the kingdom Babel or Babylon. This leads to the kingdom that you are creating the kingdom. You want to do something, a being. But being still have fear. Being still wonder. Being you still are looking for answers. Being still wondering what can I do to survive. But your being, your body is also being. In that being, because your body is also there is a state of restlessness. And that being in that process leads to the phase next, which Babel is that where in the Babylon phase you're also concerned about the practicality. Then is a wretch. You don't care about the practicality and that's it, right? Occurred. Occurred. You care about occur also, you can say occur, this occur also. You know that practicality matters, survival matters, but you're taking the leap of faith that God has written it for a purpose. Yet, let's just see. I'm sure, yes, God is real. Let's just see. Let's take the faith. And then you reach Kalni. You reach a junction, a new junction, which this is. In this junction, it's all Him that flows, in that awareness you're flowing. And in that awareness, you start to know. In that awareness, you start to be. Plato was a teacher like this, and Plato has often said that he did not know. And the students that Plato had from that collective teaching and understanding through others, maybe some teaching would flow, or Plato would just be. This Plato would say that Plato knows nothing, he's just flowing. Plato can be a stage of teaching, you can say, and you can say that that is the preliminary stage when you're just knowing the being, you're just being, you're just letting that awareness of that being flow, and that being grows every moment, that being is flowing every moment, and the being is changing form every moment, and the being is flowering out all the awareness to you that you need to be in every moment to be who your being wants to be. In the land of and Kalne, in the land of Shinar. So, which again comes with 11. From the land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh. So from that Kalne, this person goes to Assyria and starts creating something and start building something with that understanding. And that understanding upgrades itself to a more heightened version, like you have started to flow in your life purpose, in your being, and you're creating a formation of your life purpose. Then you upgrade it, and after the upgradation, he entered a stage of Rehoboth, which was 499 hertz of reasoning frequency, where you just bring in the reasoning in that phase, like what will happen, what practicality, how to just put it all together. This is also not when your imagination has opened. You're still having a creative block there. Finally, you're like, it's in my kala, CLH, kala, kala. So it's my purpose. It's in my gift. That is my purpose. So you start to live in your gift. You start to share your gift. You start to explore your gifts. You start to share your gifts. And as you start to share your gifts and stuff, then is resin between Nivene and Kala. So, and the line is, and REACN, resin between Nineveh and Kala. That is the great city. I had no idea about this line. I just said out of my understanding of process by now because I guys have read this, but that doesn't mean that I said that consciously out of knowing. I didn't know what I was saying. It was my awareness speaking. I swear I did not know. It was like the awareness that was speaking. And because I let the awareness speak, the next line, when aligns, I feel extremely confident that, okay, I am on the right path, speaking through the awareness. So I'll now let the awareness flow more, but now consciously. So between reasoning and building that, between your creation and Nineveh is your empire that you're yet to build, is your reasoning. And in that process, where you're imagining and articulating your creation with your reasoning also equal, you need it like logical brain and creative brain, equally needed, both integrating with each other, assessing through the path to reach to the next level. It just happened with me, I just gave the example. It just fathered Rudim, Anamim, Lehabim. So after that essence, you've given birth to the empire. So which is the empire? Egypt. So now that you have given birth to Egypt, you've given birth to your empire. You start your empire. You start with Ludim. Ludim is when you have just started your stage and you have still got some fear. And with that fear, survival instincts are still there in your energy. It's of course not your fault. You're taking such huge leap of faith. So you have to be practical at that phase because there's a lot of fear integrated and it's naturally that with the process. And then you reach the phase of Anamim where okay, you realize beyond that fear, beyond all that is beyond that fear, you have taken that leap of faith. But in this leap of faith, also there is pride for this leap of faith because you have not worked on that survival instinct. With the survival instinct in both, there is lehabim to balance the two. Lehabim is when you can just open up. I have had that stage experience thought a lot of times that I felt that I just flow, I just be, and in that process, maybe I just start my restaurants that you just give me a side by support so that I just can flow in the stage. Because I did not want the dim stage, or I neither did not was ready to reach the ananim stage. So I had chosen that path, and I still am kind of connected to that path. And right now, I'm personally getting a lot of information. And the only reason I'm sharing where I am in my life and relating is because I'm also in this human earth and relating. So can you? And then is Naptuhim. Naptuhim is a phase when you just let go of even this fear, which even I have, and I'm curving this fear along with you all as you do so. Is also when you give out on this fear and do not have a backup plan, plan B, and just go all in. Like if going all in this process has worked, going all in this process can also work. And in that process, there is patrusm and kalusum. So kasluhim. So patrusm can be where you've gone all in and still there is fear and that melancholy and fear, you're creating something and that fear is still prominent in your creation. So I can give that as an example of my first book. It had a lot of fear intel and a lot of things there, and literally the creativity was not unleashed because there was a sense of practicality there. So Pastushram can be a phase where you're writing, say, self-help books, and Kashluhim is a phase where you are creating, say, something very creative. You're creating this, creating something as creative as this. Something like this outside and inside cannot be created as here. To create something at this level, you need to get over that and have complete faith. Like, this is like extensively beautiful creation of God. And to reach this creation of God, to reach this level of creation of God, to reach this level of embroidery, to reach, and actually, these cards are actually made from the different dimensions, different vibrational frequencies. This is soul star chakra. This is in fact star seed chakras, throat chakra, which you can learn furthermore in quantum entanglement consciousness alignment therapy, what that means. But just for example, but that creation is impossible to be created without that state of mind, without a frequency. So, and from whom the Philistines came, from whom the group of people who came, who just create these beautiful things. Philistines can be people who just can be people who are good with writing, creation, unique stuff, making creative stuff, creative. Say even the Japanese had this thing to create the way Japanese create those fans and everything, and they can create those harmonic things because they have that ikigai, that harmonious state inside, and capturing. And capturing is finally where you have reached your throne, captured the throne, but you have battled through all those phases to reach there. You've gone through all these to finally reach there. You have that throne now. You're the captain of your throne, but you're the captain of your throne. You have not captured your throne. Then Canaan fathered Sidon. Then Canaan state, like in Canaan stage, you were capturing it. I'm the winner. In bubble stage, you have that thing. Bubble, babble, bubble, babble, bubble. You have the thing. I have just got everything. Oh my God. But in captain stage, you're like, I'm the captain of a sheep. By then, you have a sheep, which you are like moving a ship, cruise. You that detailed, and a captain of a sheep is the captain. You have become the captain of that sheep, and each part of it is that strongly created. But to create a sheep, to create that, you have to have it hardy. Otherwise, it'll fall, it'll sink. You have to be that strong. A person is not just like that made a captain of a ship. You have to be ready. The ship has to be ready. The ship has to be detailedly ready. These are the detailing. And everybody is a part of the ship, but everybody wants to be the captain. But as I just said, it's a process. We all can be the captain. As I again said, it's a process. We're all learning. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth. So Canaan had a lot of hatred also because he was the one who was judging and all. So his firstborn was Sidon, which was given birth to imagination of going to the other end and going to the next level and just flowing in that. And as well as that, there was hatred. No, I have to just do better. I have to just do better. Both the energies are there. And Jebusites, the Amorites, and Jigrahites, the Hivites and Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, and the Zarmarites, and the Hematites. And Canaan then led to the creation of the different types of scientific creation. Canaan had to prove something, Canaan had reasoning, and that led to the different types of metals, different types of creation of the different scientific methods and having to see the different frequencies, having to see the quantum field, because oh, God is great, God is amazing, but this uh, thing, that is this thing, this is this frequency, that is this hertz. But without that also we wouldn't have electricity today. I can talk today because there is electricity flowing in my room. Nikola Tesla was as godly as Jesus was, of course, and both are needed, equally needed. A doctor is as much as needed as much as a Reiki healer is needed. Everything is happening all at once. Nobody is more, nobody is less. Canon had shame because Canon had practicality. If I, you will not go out on the road, just make it, because you're like, okay, I respect myself. I'm just, but yes, it's okay. But it would be cool for you to go to a strip club. You won't judge. Yeah, it's cool to go to a strip club. It's fun to go to a strip club and strip. But despite having clothes, just to walk out of the road naked, not for a cause. Maybe you're protesting because somebody says that women can't go out naked. That's why you're going out naked. That's a holistic cause you're choosing it to do. But just because you're going out naked, just to show that, okay, I'm naked, but just for that, they can, or you're just going out of the house naked, or just going out of the house naked just because you think that somebody will love you, or just going out of the house naked because you don't want to buy clothes. Those clothes are costly to find, or just going out naked for anything. There can be various reasoning for that. And when Canon is doing that, when, or you can say that you're very vulnerable and you haven't really healed, and without healing you're just exploring yourself and being very, you're leaking your energies a lot, and you're being like, you're being too vulnerable, like, oh my god, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've been through this phase. Let me give you an example of this. I would just go ahead online before and I would just go and say, but I cheated, but I cheated in my previous relationship. And that is when I was told, like, oh, really, you did that? And the canon in me said, oh, really, you did that? But you need to respect yourself and feel some shame and some self respect. If the canon in me was not there, I would never reach a state of balance. The canon in me and canon in you is also ego, which is giving that canon. Canon is again canon. So canon is giving that protection. What does ego do? Protect. So life is just so amazing. So this gives birth to the Amorites, the amethyst and everything, and working with that. Jershites, so Gigabytes, Hivites, to work with, say, hives and stuff, and connecting time and space, and just working with space, time, and connecting them. So astronauts can be in that phrase. Archives can be people who are working with computer, or what do you call that? Ethical hacking. Senites can be people who are in quantum fields, working with quantum stuff and quantum stuff, understanding on a molecular level. Urbanites can be people who are working with extroverting the path of alchemy, which again goes deeper into the quantum field only. Zimmerites are going to the Zen mode or finding the gems on the inside and going deeper and deeper within. Hamatites are getting into a phase of finally getting into a phase of like understanding the hematite inside, which is again God, the exact essence in the inward way. There are two paths. You can follow that scientific path. Ultimately, Stephen Hawking also said God is real. So ultimately, he reads this Hematitis phase and realized that. Afterwards, the clan of Canaanites dispersed. After a while, this quantum field goes away, and you realize that God is all that is. And yes, quantum field is very much real. Both are equally needed because you cannot reach that. It's the middle point, and you're taking every path. I chose to take every path because in every path I wanted to align on course and take off like the captain of that ship because I wanted to create something beyond. I'm still in the process of it. And when I create always not true. But for that process I had to go through all the path and I'm a curious soul. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to learn. I'm here to learn. So in the process of learning, I figured that. So in that process, finally, this goes away, and but it doesn't really go away. A quantum healer is still a quantum healer, but the quantum healer knows that when I'm quantumly integrating the thing that I was trying to get in through of and just push through is but God, is the God photon. And let me just get into a very quantum language here for all the viewers who are from quantum field who listen to this, but I have a feeling that some of you will be guided to this. So as a quantum healer, I say that when I finally reach that God photon, I realize that everything needs to be synced into that God photon and taken through that small piercing hole and be pushed, and that is when the hologram will exactly reflect and cause that reflectory index to give birth to that imagery of imagery of my twin flame in the physical reality. So as a quantum path, that is how I will define how twin flame union is happening with God as photon. But God is God. Whether it's God photon or just God photon is light. So from Sidon came in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza. Sidon is Sedona also, which is like the highest, most heightened, most place with the vibration. So finally, with this space, what happens in a lot of people in quantum field is that I personally went through this. I don't know if any of you all are here who are going through this. Is that we do not want to cross that God photon. We can stick there, but even if we go there, nothing will be taken away because all the portals are going to be the same portals that people need to open. But in fact, we'll be getting more portals to open. Like personally, I'm getting after opening the new Earth portal right now in the heart space is the portal that quantum field is opening at this point very consciously on a collective level, which is happening just because of the Holy Bible. And at this point of time, the collective is experiencing a massive shift at this very point, whatever the time is right now, it's 11:06 on 15th of September in India, IST. And right now in the quantum field, in the where the God photon energy is present, the energy did not have information that the information was needed in that flow. And upon having that information that this direction is leading to ultimately to God, having to understand that, and no matter how far we go, it's always going to the end of finding God and finding the essence of God and having the wholeness with it. This part of it is leaving through this zone. And as the quantum field leaves this zone and catches this new extended vibration, there is light being pierced through the quantum field. And as light is piercing through the quantum field, where quantum field was not being able to reach till now, it's happening right now for the entire collective. And the territory of the Canaanites was extended to Sidon and the direction to Gerar, as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. And with all the fear of this may happen, that may happen, people take wrong path, why did people do this, why did that religion do that? I will not get into detailing of it, even if the downloads are coming, because again it is going to be religiously controversial, so I'm not going to get into that right now. But why did 2003, there was a war in some country in 2003. You can Google it. Why did that happen in 2003? Why in the year 2003 also we have to go through war? Why right now are our country in attack of war? And again, the countries who were responsible for the war in 2003 are still in here. Why? Because they have fear. And that fear will not let, that's the fear which is not letting the quantum field completely get moved. And knowing that fear as you, as a human being who just gets it on hearing it, just because you hear it doesn't mean you have to get it. So if you get it, you reach to Gomara. You don't know what's going. You just trust God. You don't know what's coming, but you take a huge leap of faith. Then you reach the state of Adma, where having to live, you know that God is real. You choose God, and in name of God, we've always taken advantage of religion. We've done this a lot of times. We've done this millions and millions of times, and we've been doing this. And that is one path, or we may go into the phase of Zeboim, where we just go into the path of flowing and preaching. And flowing and preaching has not been really identified with love. And that is when Jesus was persecuted, because he was speaking the truth, and he was making people move and making people to take leap of faith. It's Zeboim, Elohim frequency. Elohim is the father of universe, the father of Jesus Christ. Elohim is our God. As far as Lasha, and then finally, after all of that, you enter a frequency of being just cute, and then of being just cute, and being in the cute essence, and being just cute in your essence of unique purpose, your niche. How can you just be cute in your unique niche, in your unique creation, in your unique attribute? That's why the fragmentation of the God self happened with the creation of the unique essence, which is now coming in. You are just dispersing, and there are the sons of Ham by their clans and their languages in the lands of their nation. And in that dispersion, finally, the Ham is found the different cool ways of doing different things, of reaching out to the different things, and there is no more fear. And the middle portion has dispersed in various broken stages, fragments, where we are living our unique purpose, our unique ways. To Shem also, father of all children of Eber, the elder brother of Zaphet, children were born. Shem, although, or you could just hold on to everything, or you could just disperse and find your unique thing, or you're just holding on to everything even now. That is why you're father of all children. You can just father everything and still choose to be in shame and complain and be in that pain, or while you're fathering everything, because you cannot tolerate. The elder brother of Zaphet, children were born. The sons of Shem was Elam. So Elam, you came Ashur. You become angry. Arpashad, you become very angry. You just complain, purge. You get into ludus. You just get into flirting around, having fun, and then aram. You just become lazy and stuff because you're just trying to do everything. When you're trying to do everything, laziness, boredom will come. You'll be like, I'm just done. I can't take it anymore. Been there. I was trying to do all the work. Tarot, Reiki. I'm like, I'm done. One day I gave up. I'm not doing. I'm like, I want to only live my unique life purpose. Only. I don't want to do it all. I just want to just live my life purpose, and here I am. And I love doing this. And it doesn't matter to me if only one person is listening to me even. It wouldn't matter to me. And it and that's like a literal, my life is like literal, and literally I can understand it now that when you're living your life purpose, it doesn't even matter if there is one person who gets you. It's about, even if that one person who gets you, you'll just flow. Because today Samiksha hasn't joined the class. Maybe she's busy with something. Anyway, I give a recording out of this, so it's not compulsory to join the 10th, 11th class. If, in case someday you're not free, you can just choose to have a recording, as I always say. So it's familiarized in the class. By the way, if any one of you who's really interested in hearing and just doing, will be guided anyway to be a part of this class, because the videos will not be available online after some time. And again, I know I will be guided at how and what is the process of understanding. Because I'm also flowing in the course of my life purpose and I'm enjoying it. And finally, Aprashad fathered Salah and Shelah fathered Eber. And with that anger, trying to do everything, um, you give birth to an energy of guilt, hatred, and with that guilt, hatred, you just try to create something which is a copy. Ola, Uber, so it's like a, same thing. You just create something as a copy. That the person wouldn't give you that wholeness. And Eber was born two sons, the one Peleg, and in this day, earth was divided. And with this was born a lot of hatred, and there was a division. And his brother was Joktan. And with that division came in a lot of creativity, came in a lot of philosophers. And this also refers to a character of Touchstone, who has in As You Like It, which is a book by William Shakespeare. It has a very famous poem, which is the seven stages of life. Stages of life. I'm going to read it out someday. And that talks about the stages of life. And that is a character that I can understand has been created out of. He was a jester. And jesters, philosophers are born out of pain. Poets, philosophers are born out of pain and different levels of crisis. And finally, philosophers are coming in and creators are coming in now for new earth, and we are here. And having to be here also, we are like wondering, are there people ready to hear us? But we don't care because our soul fills up in this process. We're different. We're here. Choktan father Alamudad Shalef Hazamehit Zera. Almudad is the almond. So when you become that philosopher, you are feeling that almond of life. This is my almond. This class is my almond. This class is my life. So now I have to also care about myself. So Shelf is when I have my self-love course, I have my other courses which you all can connect me through, which are there. I have pre-created them, I create them and I keep them, and they just keep coming in form of programs and courses, and they get recorded by themselves, and then they're available in form of courses. Then is Hazar Mavit, is when you have a lot of different multiple sources of income. You find multiple sources of income. With that creation, you just find your unique creation, and then you have your other sources of income. I do have seven sources of income already in my business, and that was the first thing I had to make, because I went into a proper process, learning it from people who have learned it. I love learning. I'm here to learn. As I said, I love learning. So that is why I can teach, because what I learn, I again relearn them through teaching, because I'm recalling them when I'm teaching. I'm basically learning even through teaching. I love learning. So I teach because I also teach myself. So I learn. I love teaching, learning from me also. And I love learning from you. I explain myself things very well. Like right now, I'm explaining myself, so I'm explaining all in the process. So then comes Jira. So Hazar Mavat. So Hazar, thousand things you just do the Jira. You just do the assess. The day of judgment comes. So when the day of judgment comes, you just realize that what is it that I really want to do. So this will go on in every phase of your life. And Hadoram, Uzal, and Dilka. So what the hell do? You just Hadoram is like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? So Uzal, I'm shining in the ray of light. I'm rising in my ray of light. Dikla, I'm opening my heart and living in my heart. I'm going to live from my heart. I know everything will fall in place. Obal, Abimel, and Sheba. Obal is like knowing that you just start to boil. You just start ubal. You just start to ubalna. You start to boil, and finally are Abimel. Abimel is abysmal. I had channels this some months ago, and I was just going through my phases, okay? And when I go through phases, I have a habit of changing my channel's name, my business name, because I have to put everything in that phase to understand the next. I have taken my life very literally as a playground where I'm having fun and life is a stage. And then you reach Sheba with that abysmal insight of belief. You reach Sheba. You're doing that Sheba. You're again doing the Sheba of God. You're humbling down, humbling down. And then Ophir with that energy, that Kafka on that on the show. Like this is a book by Haruki Murakami. Was written in this frequency. I just get that right now. Ophir, and there's this book called Kafir or something. It's written in this vibration too. Anything in that creative essence is created in this Ophir. Ophir is like the opium. I literally feel like I'm on opium right now as I read this. Then is Havila. Then you have your heaven on earth. Then you have create your luxury, you create your house, you create your things because you create your empire, the true empire that opium creates of it. And Jobab. And with that, you have the Jawab, the answer we were seeking for. We have the answer now. Here are the answers. Bible is the most trippiest thing on earth. If you know the strip, if you've loved the strip and fallen in love with the strip, you will. I chose this as my life purpose because I love this. I was seeking for a way to just, just read. And in fact, my channeling had come when I was doing my Hazamavit, or the phase, and I was doing a lot of things. The day of judgment had come when I shared it in the class that it's my dream to have a book club. That day I kind of understood that is it my dream or is it my purpose to have a book club? Then I realized it's my purpose. I love it. And then I was like, okay, let's just flow in the process and trust me. I just got to know my life purpose right now. Right now. I might be acting very smart right now, like I got that then. I didn't. I'm doing it on purpose because not to shame myself, so that you find it too. Because I can feel the gushing joy and spirit which is flowing in me to do it. This words were my code. I love words. I can't live without words. I would be very angry when I heard that you can do Reiki. I'm like, what about words? Nobody will hear my words. Words, 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 words. Because I love words. I can't live without words. And here is a epiphany. I got the jawab. So I'm sure you got some answer too in your life. And that's so exciting that y'all are getting answers. So, oh my God, life is so exciting. Thank you, God. So with the Havila, the opium creates the heaven, it does create the heaven. And the answer, and all these were the fawns of Joktan, the territory. Joktan is also the fool. All this while I was in my fool energy. And I'm glad I was in my fool energy. Thank God I chose to be in my fool energy. And yes, people who saw me were there, were the only ones who were supposed to be there. And it doesn't matter to me. And who's not there and who's there, because ultimately what matters is who you connect with and you have the same vibration with, and the territory in which they lived extended to Misha in the direction of Sephar, to the Heel country of East. So territory is extended to various places and through various ways. These are the sons of shame by their clans and the languages in their lands of the nations. So those who are willing to, after you've lived different things and purposes, so you've created various, say, I personally have created a lot of courses and I'm yet to create one more course soon. And after that, I get into my retirement zone here. And after I get into my retirement zone, my creations, my scientific creations, say quantum entanglement consciousness alignment therapy, or self love, or coaching, or the upcoming course that I am building now, which is starting from 26th of September, and 25th of September will be the last day of registration. It's a 6 month program for singles, and after that, it will be a course which will be available. And I'll not be having anything other than this. I love this. And those will be the sources which get me, like somebody who's wanting to be a tarot reader will always be helped through my course. And always the person will be getting clients from me. Someone who's a coach who learns coaching will not be, will already getting clients from me. So all these people who are my students are getting the clients and have their career sorted, are also going to, some of them might find interest in having to learn in the words. Those are the ones who will come to me. I was having this question right now, who will follow my life purpose? This was the answer exactly that came from me. So in your case, so maybe you've been having say, maybe you're a teacher. You just learned a lot of things and you want to share, and you just also want to live your life purpose. You figured that out. And how would you do that? So you can just make courses and stuff and different sources of income. And once you've sorted those sources of income, you can finally just know that, okay, those will bring me money. And now I can just flow in the course of my life purpose. The rest will fall in place. And then the rest falls in place. The rest will only fall in place when you've completely satisfied yourself and just surrendered in the life purpose. Once you've surrendered in your life purpose, these are the clans of the son of Noah, according to the genealogies in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after flood. So now that you have reached here to this zone, there's also answer. You might have had answer like questions that what after this? So you find your life purpose. Now you've created things. So now after that you have finally figured what you want to do, and you have reached a state of wholeness. In your wholeness, now there is already a flood, because there's so much of things, no? So there's flood. So now that the flood will subside, and as you anchored holding on to your life purpose, the rest of the things will fall in place and align. And you'll stick to your life purpose, and others will stick to their life purpose, and everything will come into a state of alignment. and peacefulness. And it's a process. And then we will be reaching to the Tower of Babel, then Shem's descendant, then Terah's descendant, which is again terraform of Aries, which is very close to my heart. Then we'll be doing Call of Abram, then Abram and Sarai in Egypt. Then Abram and Lot separate. Abram rescues Lot. Abram blessed with Melchizedek, God's covenant with Abram. So a lot of things we'll be going through. So before that, now we'll be starting with the Tower of Babel, which is from tomorrow. And actually, I'm getting a pull to start it now. Must be for a reason, because the collective needs this right now, and because the Babylon Tower is falling and the call of Abram is rising right now. So I'm being guided to retell the call of Abram, because the Babylon kingdom has already fallen and it's happening now. Now the whole earth and the language of the same words. As the people migrated from east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly. And they had bricks for stone and bitumen and for mortar. And they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower and its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest be dispersed over the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to the sea as the city and the tower with the children and the man built. And Lord said, behold, they are one people, they have all one language, and this is the only beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, and so each they may not understand one another's speech. Lord, disperse them from there over the face of the earth. And they left of the building of the city. Therefore, its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all earth, and from the earth, Lord dispersed them over the face of all earth. So, Babel is a bubble, is a group of people who, I'm not again getting into details, but Babel is when ascension began. When ascension began, we were all very scared. And when we were all very scared, we started doing something, taking decisions, because we thought that God is not coming, no change is happening. And let's just do things now, let's just earn out of the misery. And whenever we have these phases, those phases are also created by God, because God is giving everybody different purpose. And in that process, so say a group of people who are creating a, so you are a twin flame and you just got into your twin flame union ahead of time. I'm just giving an example. So you just got into your twin flame harmonious union ahead of time. So you get into your harmonious union and you're waiting for others to get into harmonious union. And there's a group of people who come to you and you're working with them. And you just speak a language you get, and those few people just get you at that level. And then there are more people who have not reached that harmonious level at that point of time, who have not touched that level yet. So now the people haven't touched that level yet. Problem that comes in is that they don't understand, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? But there are a few people who have reached that stage. So people who reach that stage will be connecting to that bubble. Will the rest will connected to be connected to another bubble. So the bubble which you connect to will not be the bubble I connect to, but we are all placed together, and things will pop up in front of you when you are ready. So a teacher who is really deep and spiritual and talks about deep spiritual stuff You may not be able to resonate with that person when you're going through the period of healing. For example, whatever I'm teaching, you may not connect to what I teach when you are going through healing. You may feel like, oh my God, I don't understand what she said. But when you have gone through that period of healing, when you're going through that period of healing, you will connect to a group of people, group of coaches who you may not resonate to anymore. When you have healed, you move to another part of your life. And then you resonate to a group of coaches. Then you resonate to a group of coaches. So these groups have been separated by God in through vibration. It's like wherever you are vibrating to, that is happening. So Babylon, that energy where you just trying to do something because you are unique, because you can do something differently, is now coming crushing in the new art thing. Because in the new art process, everybody wants that energy, everybody wants to be there, also everybody wants to heal. So in the new earth energy, everybody is rising, and there is, and confusion is going away. And this confusion is again present because it's our choice if we want to let go of this 3D process or want to choose it. And I cannot even redefine the structure beyond confusion because the infinite being in me does not let me flow. Shem's descendants. These are the why? Because why doesn't it let me flow? Because the confusion causes shame. What comes next? Shame descendant. These are the generations of shame. When Shame was 100 years old, he fathered a Prashad. And then finally, it's like enough is enough. 2 years after the flood. It's been 2 years since the outbreak of wave of 2017 took place. And the shame lived after he fathered Aprashad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Aprashad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shela, and Aprashad lived after and fathered Shela for 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shrila lived for 30 years and he fathered Eber, Shela lived after he fathered Eber 403 years and he had the sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years and fathered Peleg, and Eber lived after he fathered Peleg for 30 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he fathered Reu, and Peleg lived, he had fathered Reu for 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu lived for 32 years, he fathered Shirug, and Reu lived and fathered Shirag for 207 years and other sons and daughters. So, with that confusion, say you have been confused and you cannot understand in the twin flame journey, you're confused like which teacher should I go to? I don't understand that teacher. I need to heal, and that teacher is not understanding me. I'm going through a lot of pain. Who should I go for? What do you need healing for? What isn't in you that you want to change in? And once you have gone through that phase and gone through that phase of shame and stuff, and you reach a stage when you're like very angry. In that very anger, you want to create something, and with that anger, you can just create something. With that anger, you create something which is a copy, and you somehow you create it because you're living by an example, and you're supposed to live by that example so that upcoming generations get that. And but however, to do that, that causes a lot of plague, that causes a lot of diseases, it causes things like outbreak of coronavirus. And with that say outbreak, the competition, pain, causing a lot of pain, gives birth to a lot of view, a lot gives birth to a ray of energy, a new energy, which gives birth to a lot of junoon, shirag. So gives birth to that, and that leads to the creation of Nahor. Nahor is Nahor is the creation of creating something with that momentum, with that energy, to create something that is not glossy, just to beat that in apathy. But with that comes in a state of humbling down. And with that humbling down, you ground down to Terra, to the terra firma of fairies. And Terra, then you give birth to Abram, so the essence where you flow in that stage, where you're flowing in your essence. And then you give birth to Nahor, where in that Nahor essence, you want to create something beyond that energy and want to bring in peace. And then it leads to Haran, which leads to a lot of complaint and fight and stuff. And when finally Haran comes to an end, and the complaint comes to an end, and you've complained enough and understood enough and lived through other people's point of views, and you've gone through the phase of seeing things on other people's point of views, you really realize that ultimately Haran dies. So I'm just going to read it out from here and then explain. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, and Nahar and Haran, and Haran fathered Lot. Haram died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred in Ur of Chaldeans, and Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. The daughters of Haran, the fathered Milcah and Ishka. Now Sarai was barren, and she had no child. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, the grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went forth together from Ur of Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah, 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So finally, Terah is also the terror. So in that terror of that fear, what will happen, what not will happen, with that energy, you finally reach that stage when you're like, no, I cannot really live in that lack consciousness anymore. And the Haran in you, the living in that lack to do something for others, finally comes to an end, that there is finally a death of that energy. And now rises the call of Abraham, which is also the rise of AI, the rise of creation, the rise of new ways, of new earth ways of creation, creating in new ways and living in your perfection and living in your life purpose and living in your creativity and living in your oneness and giving true oneness and essence to your luxury, and having to find all the answers, having to find a lot more clarity. Finally, the lack consciousness energy come to an end, and you have the answers why in new earth you create in the call of the essence, and you are but a voice of him, the Lord, and it is in the essence of the Lord, in the respect of the Lord, that you flow, and there births your creation, and you just flow in your true oneness with Lord. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the food we eat. Thank you, God, for the birds that sing. Thank you, God, for the knowledge that we gather. Thank you, God, for the twin flames journey. Thank you, God, for the ascension and evolution. Thank you, for God, for everybody's harmonious union. Thank you, God, that Jesus is here. Thank you, God, that Christ speaks through us. Thank you, God, that Christ is the teacher. Thank you, God, that Christ channels who I am. And thank you, God, that Christ speaks to me. Thank you, God, that Christ is here and He is the teacher of our heart, speaking love and oneness. And this is the beginning of new earth and the beginning of a magical reality. In the terra firma of fairies, as Haran, the lack consciousness permanently comes to an end for the collective. I'm being guided to read the continuation till Egypt because the energy has to be embedded and shifted by tonight and right now. Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and kindred and your father's house to the land I will show you. We are being moved to a new part of the land and we're following the path of God. And exactly how God is being God guides us, we shall flow now. And I will make of a great, and I will make you a great nation, and I'll place you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of earth shall be blessed. So this is the rise of the Messiah, the rise of Jesus in us, in our heart. Jesus is rising in your heart as much as he's rising in my heart. He is rising now. This is the calling of the great name, the great failure, the great energy which is rising in us, and it is in the essence and oneness of God that we are rising now. And I'm getting a message from God is to get over stream and completely submit to preach his words, and it is in his words. The rest now speaks. So Abraham went as the Lord had told him. Okay. And Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. And Abraham took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abraham passed through the land of the place at Shechem to the oak of Moreh. At that time, Canaanites were in the land. Then Lord appeared to Abraham and said, to your offering, I'll give you the land. So he built there an altar to the Lord who appeared to him. From there he moved to the hill country on the east of the Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord, and he called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed on, still going towards Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn. There was famine, was severe in the land. So the messiahs who are here and are flowing, we are at this point creating, we're in this land which God has given us, and we are moving now through this land very literally right now. So things literally are happening right now, and I don't know anything. As I said, I'm saying, I'm just flowing. Now there was famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn, and there was famine, was severe in the land. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to Sarai, his wife, I know that you are a beautiful woman in appearance, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife. Then they will kill me, but they will not let you live. Say you are my sister, that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared from your sake. So when you're moving through this space, you're moving through this energy, you're moving through these phases of changes in life. What a lot of times happens is that you're moving through the journey of life, you're moving through the twin flame journey. You come across somebody who's very much like you. You may feel like they're your twin flame, but maybe they are just a portal to your twin flame union. And they are the ones who are there with you, and they are the ones who choose to be there with you, like a wife can be with their husband. Pramila, literally the wife of. So the energy that is there is that finally with it's like that one person who finally gets you and is ready to stand with you no matter what, because that even that one person, if sees you potential, you can just do. It's that way for some people, and that's how God decides for some people, literally that way. And as I said, I know nothing. I'm just flowing in the words as the words are revealing the collective energy at this point of time as how it is happening and in the nuanced process. When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw the women was very beautiful. When the princes of Pharaoh saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. And for the sake he dealt well with Abram, and he had sheep, oxen, and male donkeys, male servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because Sarai, Abraham's wife. So Pharaoh called Abraham and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, that I took her from my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go." And Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. So Abraham went to Egypt, and he went with his wife and all he had, a lot from him, into the Negev. Now Abraham was very rich in livestock, in silver and gold, and he journeyed on from Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he made an altar at first. And there Abraham called upon the name of the Lord. And the Lord who went to Abraham also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support both of them dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abraham's livestock and husbands of Lot's livestock. At that time, the Canaanites and Perizzites were dwelling in the land. Then Abraham said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, I will go to the right. So if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left." Lot lifted up his eyes and saw the Jordan Valley, well watered everywhere, like the garden Lord, like the land of Egypt in the direction of Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all Jordan Valley, and Lot journeyed east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled in the cities and valleys and moved to the sands of Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were kicked, great sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, westward. For all lands that you see, I'll give you unto your offerings forever. I'll make your offering as dust of earth, so that if one can count the dust of earth, your offering also can be counted. Arise, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I give it to you. So Abraham moved his tent and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, where at the Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. So it's a phase of life where Abraham rescues Lot. I'll end with this, I hope. I don't know anything. In the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, and Sheol-Lenemer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, these kings made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinnah, king of Admah. I'll read till one more line, like give you a description of the thing, and then I'll again continue from tomorrow from there. Of Zeobim and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. So the path of finding your life purpose, the path of finally choosing the path will not be easy. There will be a lot of confusion, there will be a lot of things, but ultimately everything in you will be rescued, everything that you have lost will be rescued, and you'll finally align in the harmonious way of God. And all you need to do is flow in the course of God and flow in no matter what, nothing makes sense to you. You need to flow in the course of God and find that oneness in God. Right now, if nothing makes sense to you, if nothing right now that is going on in your life is like is making sense, the rest will start falling in place and start to make sense to you. And you will be but marveled how beautiful life is as everything falls in place for you. Thank you and love and light to you. Namaste, and I'll see you all tomorrow with the rest of the reading. And as I said, my classes just go on. So I don't know how long it will be tomorrow because there will be a lot of downloads for those who hear the class and does not hear the class. Here's the class might get some clarity. Who does not know about the class also might go through confusion. So I pray to God that it reaches this class, reaches out to as many of you who need this class. And I had been getting a lot of feeling about this class. When I started, now it makes sense why. One message from God before we end this class about the collective at this point of time. I'm not a victim of the world I see. What forgiveness? Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Let go of all the grudges. Let go of all the issues that you hold against anybody. Forgive all and love God and know that everything is happening for your highest good. Just trust God. Just know everything is falling in place. The hurt and the pain you have is the hurt and pain deep inside that you have right now because you cannot see how beautifully your potential has come true. And it's also pain where you're feeling that how can I feel such pain that makes me feel painful because all my dreams have already come true and I'm just doing great in the world of my dreams and I'm already living my dreams. And everything is an unfolding process. Life is a learning process. As you learn through the course of life, everything falls in place. Thank you and love and light to you. Namaste.